What's up, everybody? Welcome into DodgerHeads, presented by DodgerBlue.com, part of the Blue Wire Podcast Network. And today, some news, guys, that Dodger fans have been hoping for, at least my mentions have been pining for. Michael Busch is back with the Major League squad. Of course, JD Martinez, the casualty here with a groin injury. He heads to the injured list, but a guy that's the Dodgers are, one of their top hitting prospects, the most Major League ready hitting prospect that they have, Blake, is back with the Dodgers. I'll ask you a simple question. How big of a deal is it that Michael Busch is back with the Dodgers?
It's exciting. He's he's been deserving of a chance for quite a while now, and I think every fan knows what he's been doing at AAA. But on the other hand, it's hard to say like he's going to get a huge runaway to play. We'll
Yeah.
see how Dave Roberts actually manages him. So I'm not sure he's going to make a huge impact or anything. I think we have to temper expectations a bit and see how much he actually ends up playing. But it's exciting, so we'll give it that.
Yeah. Yeah, Scott, on the numbers side, he got 51 plate appearances when he was up with the Major League club a couple of different times. And we have to be honest, he hit 200, 294 on base, 267 slug, no home runs. And that's the extent of his Major League career. He's never hit a Major League home run. The flip side is you go down and you look at the minor league stats, specifically the last couple of months. In the month of July, a 1.130 OPS. The month of August, 1.118 OPS. He has 17 home runs in July and August in 42 games. He has 17 home runs. So the guy can do it. He hits lefties. He hits righties. Scott, do you have again, I think we talk about Michael Busch in the AAA. It's worth pointing out that he did struggle mightily at the major league level.
Yeah, I mean, it's valid questions, valid concerns about, does that translate? It doesn't always translate, clearly. We saw how Miguel Vargas struggled. He goes down to AAA, finds it again. He's, still doing the thing. Just to Blake's point, how much will he play? And how much does that time in that second, that send down, how much does that affect him when he comes back up? We don't know. But in a perfect world, I know Blake will love this. Like in a perfect world, that Dave Roberts will allow him to just play every day, righty, lefty, doesn't matter, and see if that translates. Put him in opportune spots, and that means playing every day. That means giving him, consistent at bats, not sitting down, playing 3 days, and then sitting the rest. I think that there is something to Dave that he doesn't like to do that. He'll play the matchups in the designated hitter spot, and maybe put Michael Busch at third base and let Max Muncy go to DH and flip it that way. But I think they'll want to keep Michael Busch on the field, like playing defense. I don't think they'll want to just lock him in at the designated hitter spot just because of how many platoon spots they have.
Yeah.
But 17 home runs, man, since he was sent down, 44 RBI, like it was a hell of a run.
Yeah. Yeah, you look at his game log from when he was first up, he'd play a few days and then he'd play on April 27th and then not see the field again until May 1st. And then he'd be off the next day, come in as a pinch hitter. And then again, he's not playing till May 7th, again, as a pinch hitter. Like you would have these 3 or 4 day stretches where he's not playing that I don't think aided him. And I'm with you, Scott. Like I would love to see him play every day and I would just simplify it. Let him be the DH. Like let the guy come up, not have to worry about trying to play positions that he's clearly not overly comfortable with. Like he's been fine at third base. He made a nice play in left field the other day that made it onto social media. JD Martinez was the everyday DH. Let Michael Busch just step into that role, be the everyday DH. He hits lefties, he hits righties. He's had no issues with that at any level. Now, that said, I don't think any of the three of us actually think that's happening. Do we? Like, Blake, do you think there's any real chance that Michael Busch is playing 6 out of every 7 games and maybe only sitting when, it's a Will Smith off day or something?
I'll say probably not, but I also don't think they would have called up Michael Busch if they didn't intend on playing him either. So, like, you could have called up Yanni Hernandez and just left him on the bench. And I know I'll probably get some jokes for the saying Yanni, but I mean, like, they're not calling up Busch to sit him on the bench, if we're being honest. So, well, I don't think he's going to get a full runaway to just play every day. I also think he'll get a good amount of at bats.
Yeah, and look, I hope you're right. It felt like they called him up to not let him play last time around, which is why I'm a little bit concerned. Let me close out the video with this, Scott, and I'll start with you. Does Michael Busch hit enough over the next 4 to 6 weeks at the major league level to make a real case for being on the postseason roster? In your opinion, does he hit enough between now and the end of September to where the Dodgers have to make some real decisions?
So that's a big if. I think a lot depends on what some of the veteran guys around the roster do with, Jason Hayward. It'll have to take someone playing really bad for them to include Michael Busch. It'll if he hits, then that will be the case. But I think it'll be the peripheral guys for that to really be a thing, and it'll all come down to division matchups. So I'm not really ready to say who will be left off or where that'll come. But optimistically, sure. But realistically, I'm going to say that I don't think that he'll, explode or put up the same level of production that he had at AAA.
Let me rephrase to simplify it to just Busch. If you're looking at weighted runs created plus, do you think he, over the next 4 to 6 weeks, whatever runway he gets, do you think he can post a number somewhere in the vicinity of like a 110?
Yes.
Blake?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, and that's what I'm saying. Like, if he goes out and does that, when you get to the postseason, all of a sudden that last bench spot is way less about like, hey, we need a 7th string right fielder, and way more about like, hey, we need a bat that in the 8th inning with runners on 2nd and 3rd and 1 out, we need somebody who can put the ball in the outfield because we don't trust, Miguel Rojas to necessarily get the ball out there in this spot or whatever it is. Like, I really keep saying it. I really think there's a chance that if he can post a 110, 115 weighted runs created plus, that he's going to make a run, and that some of these like 4th or 5th infielders, 5th or 6th outfield types that he's competing against, who maybe right now you sit there and say, well, they have more defensive value. I'm not sure the defensive value is going to outweigh the pinch hit value come postseason time. And I get that we've got guys like Chris Taylor, who's been there before and who's done it, even if he hasn't looked all that great this season. You mentioned Jason Hayward, another veteran clubhouse guy who maybe has struggled a bit of late. But I just think, if nothing else, for a team with an 11.5 game lead in the division or whatever it is as we sit here today, at least we've got a storyline to watch. We've got a guy that kind of gives a jolt to the team that makes it interesting to follow. Because I think if Michael Busch starts hitting home runs and hitting for a little bit of average and can post an OPS of like 800 or something like that, I really think it's going to be interesting. And I'm going to be way more in tune to what did Chris Taylor do yesterday, or how's Jason Hayward looking at the plate? Because as much as it's bizarre to think about a rookie and a veteran like that, crazier things have happened come postseason time when you just got to pick your best players and throw them out there. So let us know what you think in the comments below. I know we've got folks excited about Michael Busch coming up. Do you think he hits that well to sort of earn his way onto the postseason roster? And if so, you've got to pick somebody who's off, because we're all banking on JD Martinez being back at some point this season. So it's not going to be JD Martinez's roster spot that Busch would have to fight for. It's going to be somebody else on the fringes. So let us know what you think in the comments below. That's Scott Geirman. That's Blake Williams. You can find their stuff at DodgerBlue.com. And of course, if you're new here, subscribe, ring the notification bell, and follow us as we march with the Dodgers towards the postseason, comfortably leading the division, hopefully on the verge of locking up that number 2 spot and maybe even a deep postseason run, as I know both these guys are excited about and expecting themselves. So we appreciate you watching. As always, enjoy the rest of your day. And of course, go Dodgers.